Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to another scene for Living World of Darkness, Cameron and Amak venue, New York. Tonight we are in the bunker, and Kate is looking for Arthur. That's how we start the scene.
Kate walks towards the room she found Arthur the last time, so his own private study, and knocks on the door.
Arthur is not there. The door's not locked but shut, and after you wait for a bit, you open the door and the room's empty.
I'll open the door to Kate opens the door to take a quick look inside to see if he's just, I don't know, sleeping there, but apparently it's completely empty.
If you a Tremere ghoul walks past and says, "If you're looking for the professor, he's in his quarters."
Kate eyebrows rises at this. His quarters, she asks.
The guy points down towards the door that's at the end of another corridor.
Kate nods and follows or walks to the door that the ghoul just pointed out at her and knocks on it.
Come in.
Kate opens the door and enters, closing the door behind her.
You walk into a room that's got two beds in it, one either side of the room. One has the bed on the left hand side has has a lab coat on it, and I suppose sort of the clothes it's women's clothes, but they're not very it's sort of more like gym clothes and tennis shoes. It's not overly feminine clothes. You can probably guess it's not Selena. but other than that, you're not sure. And then the other side is definitely Arthur. Books and tweed jackets, and he sat at a sort of makeshift desk with the sword hilt. And he's sort of not underdressed, but he's not as well dressed as he normally is. He's wearing he's not wearing a waistcoat, and his tie's undone. And he sort of looks up and smiles. Kate.
Kate walks towards Arthur and looks over his shoulder what he's doing. "What are you doing, Arthur?" she asks.
Let me see how well I'm doing it. Well, that first roll fucked up. Okay, yay! It looks like he made a mistake. That he was just finishing going over on the sword hilt. But he's carving it with some tools, and he sort of blows on it to get the wood shavings off. I was just putting the finishing touches on your sword.
Kate noticed that he made a mistake. She, not particularly that he made a mistake, but that his actions were not as flawless as she would expect them to be. So Kate says, "Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Should I come back another time?"
Not at all. It's just about finished now. He puts it down, and then he turns in the chair to... he sort of scoots the chair back a little bit, and then he turns in the chair to look at her, pushing himself up slightly. "How are you? You look better."
Kate kind of lifts her shoulders and smiles. "Well, yeah, I don't think I could get any worse from where I was yesterday."
He sort of inspects her. If she's wearing an open collar, he sort of looks to see where the wound was.
Yeah, she's wearing her normal clothes, so what I have in the picture. But
Is there still a cut there, or it's healed? I guess.
it's okay. Kate will tilt her head to the side so Arthur can look at her neck. And because Mole was so generous to help Kate, she had enough blood to regenerate, so the wound is no longer there.
He takes a step closer to her, to look at her neck. And then he sort of lowers his head, looks at it, and then he lifts his eyes and smiles. Good. No permanent damage.
Kate walks towards his bed and just sits on it on the end, and asks Arthur, "Can you tell me what happened?"
I believe that Lucius, you were sparring with him, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he accidentally caught you with the edge of the blade.
As Arthur is telling her this, she kind of rubs with her hand on the spot where her wound used to be.
And he sort of turns around to face her, and he leans on the chair. You were unconscious, and there are ways of bringing a kindred back around once they've been unconscious, and I thought perhaps your mentor would be able to take care of you, so I brought you to him.
Kate kind of nods at this. Mole helped me. Thank you for bringing
Do you
me
have
to
any
him.
Do you have any kindred lore?
Do I have?
Yeah.
On my sheet or as a book form?
On your sheet.
Kindred lore? No, isn't that occult?
No, it's kindred lore, camera lore.
No.
You should at least have one dot, otherwise you wouldn't know that you don't walk out in the sun. That sort of thing.
I don't even have that anywhere on my sheet. Anything that
you should do. I think you get so many. I just mentioned it to Amateur, and you get so many points in laws when you make a character.
Oh, okay. In the books, I never saw anything about lures or.
Yeah, I just mentioned it to him. Like, it's just fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
Arthur smiles. I carried you down to him and saw that you were taken care of. I'm sorry that you had to have that particular experience.
Kate kind of looks bitter at this. She's will say, "It's my own damn fault. I wasn't strong enough to even handle someone with a knife. How can I expect to fight for the Camarilla?"
Arthur walks towards her and puts his hand on her shoulder and says, "Nonsense. Lucius is much older than you, and he was a soldier by trade before he was embraced. His job is to help you, and you have been doing admirably so far. Don't be too hard on yourself."
Kate kind of cheers a bit up because by what Arthur just told her, and turns to him and asks, "Did anything else exciting happen while I was out?" And she kind of smiles.
Oh, no. I was a bit silly and got in the way when he was thrusting down on the blade and caught myself with it, but other than that, no, fine. I really shouldn't get involved in fights, but there's been a new rule made that will only use practice weapons in the future.
Kate kind of chuckles at this. One moment. I'm back.
Okay.
Kate kind of chuckles at the fact that we're no longer allowed to fight with sharpened swords.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, that might be for the better.
Are you coming along to Boston?
I want to, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to do.
Well,
Will you be going?
I will. It's a diplomatic mission, so my silver tongue is needed, he says with a sort of wink.
Kate smiles at this. Do you think I'll be able to contribute to anything to this mission?
I think I don't know how well it's going to go. Is the answer to that question? I mean, there may be an element of danger which you may be able to help with, but unfortunately, Boston's a traditionalist city, which means that some people can be backward in their opinion of caitiffs. Some older kindred are not so fond of thin bloods. Not an opinion I share, but then, being Tremere, I'm also used to being disregarded by others. An outsider among outsiders.
Mm-hmm. Kate looks sympathetic towards Arthur and thanks him for and says, thank you for being considerate towards me.
Oh. I would be remiss if I was not to look after you properly. Accidents happen, but you are a person. He almost goes, he always goes to say you are a lady as well, but he's not going to say that to her because he feels like she might punch him in the face. So he looks at it and goes, if you are a person who deserves to be treated with respect, same as anybody else.
Kate kind of caught on the 1 second hesitation and smirks at him. What a gentleman you are, she replies to him.
Well, I'm very certain that you can look after yourself and you don't need me fighting your battles for you, but it's good to know that we can work together.
Mm-hmm. Kate lays her hand upon Arthur's shoulder and says, if anything, or if anyone gets to treat me like a dainty flower, it will be you.
Gonna make a relation substitute roll. That's not a great roll, but it's 3 successes. He sort of, there's a momentary sort of like spark, which he doesn't give. It's sort of, he just smiles, but not in the way he would have normally react to that, which was like, haha. He manages to conceal the haha bit, because that's quite exciting. But
got her.
He just smiles. You're a woman that poses a great deal of intellectual challenge to most. I very much doubt that you would put up with anyone making you a second-class citizen. So I dare say you have some prominent times to come.
Kate smiles at that, but chooses not to comment on the last part of his sentence.
I find you refreshing company. There's not many people that, what do the Americans say? Call me out on my bullshit.
Kate kind of looks surprised at this for 1 second, but then chuckles.
It's a useful skill.
Uh, um, Kate looks at Arthur and says, I do see you as a dear friend to me.
He smiles genuinely at that. I'm pleased. One cannot be too short of friends in this current climate. And after the war is finished, people think that things will go back to the way they were, but I don't think that they will. I think that we will have to adapt in a different way to how we live in New York.
Kate looks quite quizzically at Arthur. Kate doesn't have that much experience on being a vampire of any sort, let alone being able to roam the streets on her free will. So she doesn't really know how she would need to conduct herself after all this uh, is done, and she will be able to move freely about the city.
Tonight, if you do come, I would suggest, and he sort of looks at her apologetically when he says this, that you dress well, femininely, and you speak when spoken to. He sort of says it with a bit of a cringe, like he'd rather not tell someone to do that, but that's kind of the way it is.
Kate looks down at the clothes she's wearing right now, and kind of pulls her shirt up a bit and goes like, so I can't be wearing this?
As fetching as your outfit is, and appealing to the eye, it is not traditionalist wear for an Elysium. It's this. I mean, most Elysiums are wear what you want. This particular Elysium is masquerade, ball, high society ball type thing. So I'll be rocking out my my best penguin suit.
Kate kind of tilts her head at her head at this, trying to imagine Arthur in a penguin suit, and laughs.
I dare say you won't be the only one that has trouble finding clothes that are appropriate. Selena probably has. Well, Selena's got enough clothes for her own fashion line, so I imagine she will have spares.
Kate asks Arthur, do you think she will allow me to borrow a dress?
I believe she's letting Nikki borrow one, so I don't see why not. Sort of casts his eyes to the empty cot for a moment.
Kate kind of makes an oh face, like she just connected the dots about who he's sharing the room with.
Have you met Dr. Barnett yet?
No, I haven't.
Well, she's not exactly the girly type, but needs must.
Kate says, I think I'll follow your advice about asking Selena if I could borrow a dress.
Yes. It will be an interesting evening. I think we need to be on our best behaviour and on our highest guard, because we're going to be in another city, which means that we have to be very careful about what we do. Very careful.
Kate is more fixated right now on the fact that she's going to a ball, and says, I never got to go to prom, so this will just have to do. It kind of winks at Archer.
He smiles at her, but then just sort of looks at her seriously to make sure she's listening. Listen, I want you to be very careful if you come this evening. We will not be within our own power in another city. The prince of that city could have us executed for breach of the traditions.
At the moment, Arthur looks at her strictly. Her smile fades from her face, and she gets a more serious demeanor. And after Arthur is finished with warning her about how to behave and what will be the dangers of going to Boston, Kate asks, "Can you educate me about proper conduct and etiquette?"
Yes. Speak when spoken to. Address people politely. If you meet the prince, it's best to bow or kneel. Do not draw weapons on anybody. Do not frenzy on anybody. Do not go around killing people. We have to basically act within the prince of that city's permission. We have to wait for acceptance by him or her, I don't actually know, before we're allowed in. It is his domain, which means that we have to abide by all of his rules. We are at his mercy, essentially. What he says goes. We're going to have to be very, very, very careful about what we do. We're going there to ask for help, so we are in this submissive position.
Kate nods at this.
It could be disastrous if someone offends a member of his court, and I believe that his harpy is particularly vicious. So I would come along for security reasons and just watch and listen and don't say anything.
Kate just nods.
Unless there's trouble. But it would be a good learning exercise for you if you do wish to come along. I'm sure Mole would discourage it. I mean, he's not a big fan of how do you say, Camarilla etiquette and social structures. But I think you should probably ask his permission before you come along. I don't want to upset him.
Kate just nods at this. Of course, of course.
I'm not your tutor, he is.
Kate says, "I will talk with him after this immediately."
Arthur looks like he wants to say, shame, that's a shame, but he doesn't. It was just implied in the way he said it.
Kate stands and says to Arthur, "Once again, thank you for helping me the other day. It's really scary to trust yourself with someone or with people you never met before. So it was really encouraging to know that even when I wasn't able to save myself, someone else was there to help me."
He smiles. He says, well, consider it a standing arrangement. I won't let anything untoward happen to you if I can help it.
Kate winks at Arthur and says, "And I will try to save you, but as many times as I possibly can."
He grins. Good to know. Good to know. He stands up to. He assumes that she's probably about to leave, so he stands up to see her out.
Kate walks towards the door and waits for Arthur to open it for her.
He smiles playfully and opens the door and gives her kind of like a bow as well, like, good evening. Obviously, fooling around.
Kate grabs the non-existing fold of her skirt in her hands and makes a very deep bow. Good day, my lord. And looks up at Arthur and just smirks. And then rises again and walks out the door.
He chuckles as he closes the door behind her, shaking his head slightly. And that will be the moment we end the scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Till next time.